The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of the horror. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking 1958's The Fly. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. We're doing retro, WeWatch, and original versus remake. This is 1958's The Fly, and then our next video out will be the remake with Jeff Goldblum, The Fly. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Not much.
I'm trying to get
In the zone?
in the zone.
Okay.
They're trying to figure out what it'd be like to be a little fly stuck in a giant string.
That saying, I wish I was a fly on the wall, maybe
Yeah.
rethink that saying in this episode. It's that looks like it sucked.
It's like, it just makes me want to kill more flies. I hate flies, dude.
They're gross. Yeah, they're gross.
Little
These
creatures.
people have a lot of flies in their house.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's like, close the windows. There's 75 flies in here.
You notice one thing I have noticed since moving here 12 years ago to Las
There's
Vegas?
no bugs.
There's not a lot of flies here.
No, there's no bugs here.
There is, once in a while, you'll get a fly, but it's always that one little annoying one that wants to land on your forehead. But he never has any friends.
It's aggressive. Yeah.
Never has any friends.
It's a
In
desert
Oregon, there's fucking flies everywhere. It's ridiculous. Everybody has a fly swatter. Yeah, it's nonsense.
Jude's also here.
Hello.
He devolved into a freaking Oregon story there.
Sorry.
This one time in Oregon.
There's one time in Oregon.
A lot of flies.
There's a lot of flies there. And last but not least, Matthew Kadish here. What's up, dude?
Not much. So the first time I ever saw this movie was in film school, and it was an introductory to film theory class where the professor showed this. And I can remember sitting there watching, I was like, why am I watching this movie? And apparently this movie had a great deal of cultural significance and actually kind of propelled not only Vincent Price's career, but horror movies in general to the forefront of the collective pop culture consciousness. So this is actually a very important movie to talk about, and we're going to talk about it, I guess.
I hate movie snobs.
It's what we do.
This is a very important movie to talk about. That's great cultural significance because, you got a bunch of actors saying lines and they're being very important.
I felt like it was a commentary on the new Atom Bomb.
This movie bored the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
A bit. We'll get into it. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. We'll get into it in a minute. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to dive into this movie and talk about our feelings. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you guys would like to support what we do here at the podcast, the easiest and best way for you to do that is to go to saltynerd.com/DC and download a mobile game called Dragon Champions on Apple or Android devices. It's a really fun, easy to play game where you guys get to collect your heroes, go on the war path and upgrade them and work your way through until you become level 80 masterclass like these guys here. Don't forget, when you jump in there, make sure to get credit for joining us as a Salty Nerd Podcast. Type in Salty in the promo code area, and that'll give you a little bit of a leg up on the competition. Plus, when you reach level 20, then you can join our guild, which is super active. Those guys are always on raids, having a ton of fun, chatting it up in our Discord app as well. So best, easiest, and free way to help support this podcast is to download that mobile game and start playing it and have a ton of fun. And that really supports us. We like those developers over there of that game, and they like us. So we like to have a little back and forth, and it benefits everybody. So head over there and join us at Dragon Champions. All right. 1958, The Fly. Jude, take it away.
All right, sir. 1958, The Fly. Not rated, with a runtime of 1 hour 34 minutes. This had a budget of $480,000. What do you think this brought into the box office? 1958.
$1 million.
All right.
What was the box office?
400.
The,
I mean,
the budget was 480.
480,000
Yes.
in 1958?
Uh-huh.
Huh. This was a very culturally significant movie. So
Okay, Matt Vader.
I don't know, $675,000.
Okay.
All right. This movie had a budget of $480,000 with a box office of $4 million.
Whoa.
It really did have
Well,
cultural
It
significance.
was culturally
Yeah,
significant.
so just to put that in perspective, so $400,000 in 1958 is roughly about $4 million nowadays, and $4 million is about $40 million. So this movie 10x'd its budget.
Yeah.
What did they spend the money on? The giant EDC lights that they had in the downstairs lab.
Or it was the fake fly head that the actor had to put on.
Oh, come on.
In that arm.
I could go buy that down at the Halloween store.
Not in 1958.
Yeah, you probably could.
They spent it on CG, swapping that guy's face.
At the time, the makeup effects for this movie were quite revolutionary.
I'm not buying that.
No?
No. I'm sorry. No, fuck that. This movie, this movie sucks.
What you're saying is that they laundered the money. They were like, we're just gonna tell them it's for makeup.
Yeah. Vincent Price, being all Vincent Pricey,
Hey, this movie was shot in color. Okay, that's expensive stuff.
Ooh, maybe I guess it was back then, but yeah. Okay, you say it's in color. All right.
Well, why are you so angry? It was in color.
I don't know why I'm angry right now. But this movie pissed me off. I was expecting more, and I just got a bunch of stupid dialogue. It's like, oh, hey, honey, go make me a sandwich. Oh, dear, I'll go give you your food and just knock twice for yes and once for no. It's like they stole that from Star Trek.
So mad.
Okay. It's like I wanted to see.
Made him a drink. I should stop.
It's like there's fucking Pike in this thing. Boop, boop. It's just. I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
I think Fader should take over doing the synopses from now on.
This movie is just...
Don't jingle your freaking eyes, bro. What are you doing?
I'm pissing everybody off, I guess. I'm sorry, Matt.
All right, hold on. Let me get a clean intro for Jude's synopsis.
Clink, 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 clink.
Jesus Christ, man.
Anchor everybody.
I'm pissed off, and I'm taking you down with me.
Oh, shit.
Gonna be Vincent Price.
All right, Jude. Whenever you're ready, take it away.
When Helene Delhomme confesses to the murder of her husband via crushing him to death in a mechanical device, she's put on bed rest until her brother-in-law, Vincent Price, and the police can sort out just what happened. Finally, after being questioned like twice, she's like, oh, fine, I'll tell you. But get everyone here because I'm only saying the once. Her husband, Andre, was playing with his teleportation device and got himself face swapped with a housefly. He could have fixed the problem if they'd found the fly, but before they did, he got sick of typing out his sandwich requests and told his wife to kill him. He could have just killed himself and left her completely out of it, but that would have meant there's no way she'd be hung for murder and she could go on kind of raising their son. Instead, he instructed her how to use the machine press. It crushed poor Andre's fly head. And if you don't believe it, come take a walk in the park with me. There's a fly with a human head stuck in a spider's web yelling, help me! Oh, the horror. Discuss.
Jesus Christ.
I fucking hated this movie.
My man.
I hated this movie so much, dude. I was like, I don't know what I expected, but oh my God, it's so boring.
Kadish's jaw is clenching right now.
Oh, it was so boring.
He's like, you Philistines.
Dude, okay.
He hates this movie too.
There's so many plot holes. So they're like, we have to destroy the evidence of the teleportation device. So he just like hits it with a hammer a couple times.
Take it back.
And then he's like, I have to destroy evidence of myself as well. So let's squish me in a hydraulic press.
No, it squishes you into nothingness.
That's bullshit.
Nothingness.
You squish it.
Squishes you
and
into
then
nothingness.
When they lift it up and they take the body out, it would just be a squished fly head. It doesn't magically disappear.
You ever like pick your nose and you get one of those sticky boogers?
The long ones? Like from Alien?
Yeah.
It's
all like sticky and gross. And like, that's what that press would look like.
Yes.
You go,
It would still be a fly head though. They'd look at it and be like, well, that's a crushed fly head.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
It presses you so hard that it disintegrates anything it presses at the setting of +0 infinity x to the y, and then we're gonna do
and
it.
The other issue that they fall into with this thing is the idea that like he's gonna slowly become a fly. He's already got a fly head. His brain and body, or his head and body and brain and all that is on the fly.
Yeah, he can still type out messages.
He can still type out. I'm like, what's going on here?
It's like, is his brain inside the fly head, and his head on the fly?
But
with
did
the
you notice
fly brain?
that the fly hand had like a mind of its own?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
This
really movie
stupid.
sucks.
It's dumb.
The thing that drove me crazy about it was how like when you get to like the flashback in the story, and then she's like, so we have to destroy all of the evidence. But the whole movie, she's like, don't kill it if you find a fly.
Oh yeah, and then like, doesn't she try to kill the fly at the very beginning?
Yeah.
And she like tries to hit it, and then the nurse comes and hits it, and she starts freaking out.
Yeah.
And then she's like, God, just kill it anyway. Like she keeps flip flopping back and forth.
And then Vincent Price says that he has the fly, even though he doesn't. And she's like, okay, well, you have to promise me that you're going to destroy it. And he's like, well, if you don't tell me, then I'm going to give it to the police.
Yeah.
Okay. He's going to kill the fly too.
Yeah. And like she keeps
Spoiler.
asking, like, how long do flies live? Like
Yeah.
she's worried that it's going to die.
Yeah. This fly lives for forever.
Yeah.
I think the lifespan of a normal fly is like a day.
Yeah, it's like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
This goes on for weeks.
I knew we were in for a ride from the get-go.
How so?
When we walk into the warehouse with the janitor, and you hear the machine,
Yeah.
and then it does it again, and then you look over there, and then there's the chick, and she's all,
And there's blood everywhere.
She runs off.
There, you know, for 1958, there was a lot of blood in this movie. I didn't expect them to show
It
that.
was
Just oozing out of the press.
it was the silliest.
But I just, I thought there was too many plot holes in this movie. I didn't like any of the characters. And it was weird how it kind of ended. We're going to spoil it. But it ended on like a happy note where like the wife gets away and she's just like, oh, that was such an ordeal. And then the guy who actually, there's a little bit of like a love triangle going on here.
Yeah, Vincent Price, it's his brother that's married to
Yeah.
Lean.
But
he's in love with her.
He loves her.
Yeah.
But she loves the brother. Andre dies. And then the brother who loves the girl is like, come be with me, baby.
Oh my God, immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
He's like, yeah, my brother's dead, but are you okay, my darling?
Oh, my darling.
She's like, I straight up murdered your brother. And he's like, are you okay?
that she's the one who murdered her husband and his brother. He's like, ooh, I think I can get in there.
I can get in on this. Yeah, for sure.
But it's
Thank
okay because
God.
he wasn't human. It wasn't really him.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
You've committed murder just as much as she has.
That's another thing that made me laugh too. Is
the
like
end with the blackmail. Yeah, that's great.
when she calls him and she's like, I just killed Andre. I did it myself. He's dead, whatever. And he's like, it's midnight. Go back to bed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like, I love you both, but I can't handle these kind of pranks and jokes.
At midnight or whatever.
Very queer.
Oh my
call.
God, did you see what he was wearing too?
Oh yeah, he had the full like nightgown suit. Yeah.
And the like silk dressing gown over it.
Oh, did he have his
love
silk
it.
PJs on?
He did have
Yeah.
silk PJs on.
Over
with a
top
tie.
of his suit.
That's amazing. I would wear those.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
You wouldn't even wear a tie now.
But it's pajamas.
Oh my God.
This is my pajama suit.
So pajama suit? That would be great. I would wear that to work. But I got a suit on. What are you talking about?
I got a suit on. It just happens to be made out of silk. Fuck you.
It's a problem. It's comfortable, okay?
So then, like, once he takes her seriously, and then he's like, "Oh, I got to call the commissioner or the investigator or whatever."
The police.
And this is after midnight. He picks up the phone. He calls the police
Makes
commissioner.
a special request.
The dude is at like a smoking lounge playing chess after midnight. He's like, "Oh, I'll be right over."
Gentleman's club.
I'm like, dude, people in the 50s and 60s just be like out hanging at 1 o'clock in the morning playing chess and
Drinking
shit.
whiskey.
Oh, yeah, man.
Well, you see, Alex, back in those days, men needed an escape from all the women in their lives.
That's right.
Batman told us that.
Open your fuck hole.
Nobody understands.
No, you won't get it until like January.
Coming soon to our t-shirt store. The men's club was a thing, and it needs to make a comeback.
At 1 a.m. though, dude.
Oh, hell yeah,
It was a late night for this guy.
So we should also point out that in the short story that this was based off of, it was set in France. But in the movie, it's Canada. So basically, yes.
I was wondering why
Are they in French
they
Canadian?
called everybody
Yeah,
Madame.
like immediately that the janitor that finds the dead body, he's very French, and then like their names are all very French.
Yeah,
I wonder if French Canadians get mad that we say Canada.
probably.
Because that's what I call Canada now. It's
Canada?
Yeah.
It's fine. If they're Canadian, who cares?
So this movie was based off of a short story that premiered in Playboy magazine by a French-British author named George Langelaan.
Just get it for the articles, sweetheart.
Yeah. So basically, one of the producers of this movie had a subscription to Playboy.
For the articles.
Yeah. Well, he ended up reading the short story in Playboy, and he was like, you know what? I think this would make a good movie. And so they optioned it. And it's kind of funny because like the cast in this movie is actually like, it's a small cast, but you have like Vincent Price. And the nurse in the film was Betty Lou Gerson, who was the voice of Cruella de Vil in the original 101 Dalmatians. And do you guys remember, so last year we did a retro rewatch for a movie called 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
Which that's the same kid in this movie, isn't it?
This was giving me a lot of the 13 Ghosts energy.
Well, the young boy, the son in this movie, was the same actor who played the son in 13 Ghosts.
Didn't you say he was like hugely popular at the time too?
He was like the biggest child actor in Hollywood at the time. Yeah.
I remember him.
That was before this though, because that was in black and white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it before 1958, or did they just spend an extra budget on?
I think they just spent the extra budget. I don't know when was.
All right, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look up what 13 Ghosts was.
Yeah, I mean it's cheap. It was cheaper to shoot in black and white back then.
And for reference, if you're watching this video, go back to last year's retro WeWatch where we talk about 13 Ghosts, and you can hear that conversation. It's on our somewhere in YouTube playlist.
It was 1960.
So it was after this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. And you know what was funny is that so there's a scene in this movie where they go to the ballet on like a date night. The husband and wife, and basically there's like shots of like people on stage doing the ballet, and that was actually test footage of like the color process that you know the film company made. And this was stuff that like because like they had shot all this color footage and it was so expensive to do color back then, studios would just put that footage in like all their movies, so like they wouldn't have to spend money shooting it.
So everybody would go to the ballet and a movie just randomly.
Just to pad the runtime a little bit.
And this movie was actually very faithful, a very faithful adaptation from the short story apparently. But you know, it's kind of funny when you talk about the ending, Alex, because in the short story, basically the wife is immediately arrested and she's put in an insane asylum. That
would be more fitting.
Yeah. And so like when she's in the insane asylum, basically she writes out everything that happened and gives it to the brother for him to like read. And then she ends up killing herself. And in the movie, originally they had it so that, you know, like she ends up committing suicide, but the studio's like, that's too much of a downer. Can we like
give it a little dark for 1958?
Yeah. Can we give it a happy ending? And so like they changed the ending to make it a little bit more hopeful because they didn't think audiences would stand for it.
Hopeful. Help me. That's real hopeful.
1958 audiences were weak.
That is the only part of this movie that I found any enjoyment out of.
I laughed hard.
I laughed so hard at that point. So I
remember watching this on my computer, and I'm watch partying it. So if anybody wants to hang out with me, they can. You come in, and you're all like, "This movie sucks, bro." but wait till the last minute, you're gonna love it,
dude. He was like, "Can I skip this part, please?" And I'm like, you could probably skip like maybe 10 seconds, but you need to watch the ending of this movie.
So what's funny about the ending, where we see like the fly with the human head and arm,
and there's so much build up for it.
He's caught in a web, and the spider is slowly crawling towards him, and he's like, "Help me!" And when I saw this movie in my film class, everyone burst up laughing at that scene, and it's the most ridiculous scene. And then there's like a line later on where it's like,
"You killed a fly with a human head. She killed a human with a fly head."
It's just kind of a ridiculous line. But when the two actors were actually doing that scene, so like they had like a tiny animatronic fly with man head and arm in the web, and someone off screen would always be like, "Help me!" And so like Vincent Price and the actor would legit like crack up because it was so stupid. And Vincent Price, I think he said in an interview, he's like, "Yeah, that took us 20 takes to get through without laughing."
Yeah. Well, like even in the context of the movie, they're figuring out what happened. The wife finally spills the beans, and they're like, "Wow, what a crazy story that was." And they're like, "I found the fly with the man head," and they go outside and they go into this web, and he's like screaming for like a whole minute and a half, and they don't bother to shoo the spider away. They're just watching it as it eats him. And they're like, "Ah, shucks."
And then he just picks up a big rock.
And he smushes him. I'm like,
it's like, how big is the spider?
And he's like, there can be no evidence this ever happened. I have to cover it up. I'm like, this is so weird. It just so
go back
dumb,
to my
dude.
gentleman's club and drink some whiskey.
Yeah, I'm going to go play chess and drink whiskey and smoke a cigar.
What okay.
Here we go.
Vincent Price.
Yes.
Okay.
The dude's a legend.
Yes.
Right? I got a confession to make. I think this might be the first time I've ever watched a movie with Vincent Price in it.
Okay.
Like where he was like, a movie that I've watched from the beginning to the end. To me, Vincent Price is that goofy, scary, vampire kind of Hammer film guy who made a lot of appearances on a lot of variety shows in the 70s and the early 80s, like The Muppet Show and The Carol Burnett Show and all this kind of stuff. You know, and that's in my brain, that's who Vincent Price is.
What's his claim to fame? What's his?
Well, I think he's like a Hammer guy, right, Matt?
House on Haunted Hill,
vampire guy.
No, he's kind of like he was a famous horror actor at the time, and this is the movie that actually kind of cemented his role as like the horror guy because it made so much freaking money. But after this movie, like he had done like a string of like 2 other movies that hit really big as well, and so Hollywood was just like, oh, people must love Vincent Price, so we're going to put him in every horror movie we make from now on. And he just had that iconic voice and like that look to him.
I mean, to me, Vincent Price will always be the guy from the Thriller video. Darkness falls across the land.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand.
You know that guy. You know, and it's just.
Did he ever play like Dracula or anything like that?
I don't think so.
No? I don't think so. He was in The Fly, House on Haunted Hill, Return of the Fly.
Oh,
he was in the sequel?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
The Tingler. He was in a movie called The Bat, but he plays a doctor.
He seems like, the way you guys are talking about it, it sounds like he would be like Dracula or Van Helsing or something like that.
I mean,
like almost like a Christopher Lee type guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like a wizard in Lord of the Rings or whatever.
But I've never really taken the time or bothered to dive into Vincent Price.
I'm not impressed with his IMDb list over there.
You know, it's just like
this is all stuff in the 50s.
Yeah, you know.
The House of Usher, the Pendulum.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot of Edgar Allan Poe stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting. We'll have to.
I'm okay with going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Check it out.
He legit is a legend.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
But I just think it's funny that he has this. He is a legend, but to me, he's variety show dude. Probably he was on a couple game shows that I watched. You know, he's probably on Match Game or something. You know. So.
Let's talk about the light bright down in the basement real quick.
Oh God, the EDC stage.
Yeah. All the neon lights, and they're like, "Watch this, honey. We're gonna transport our fine china."
I told you when we were watching this movie, it's like every time they go to the transporter room and they show the big neon light things going off, I instantly from the very first one, I go, "This is a stage show at Electric Daisy Carnival."
Yeah.
It's just. I expected to see a DJ up there with his little turntables going up there
with a helmet on,
with his, you know, doing his
whatever
thing.
Sound effect they used for the transporter device, like it, like nails on a chalkboard for me. When I watch these movies, I have headphones on because I've got kids, and I also just want to have like the full experience.
You need a place to get away from.
I need a place to get away from the women and children. So I have headphones on, and when this every time this scene came up, I had to lower my volume because it's like, rah, it's like in your face. I'm just like, oh my God, guys, I get it. Like, ooh, freaking flashy light bulbs. Okay. I hated this movie. I'm sorry. It was boring. It was dumb. There's too many plot holes. They treated the lady with kids' gloves for some reason. They're like, oh, you murdered somebody? That's a shame.
Here, take some bed rest.
Here, have some bed rest and sit down. We'll get a nurse for you. I'm like,
and they just like start bringing her meals, and she's like, oh, this one's a good one today.
Yeah, I was like, the only thing that I could kind of wrap my head around is why they did that was because there was a line of dialogue where the 2 brothers own this business and were contracted with the government or whatever. And they're like, we have more money than we know what to do with. So they're like super rich.
Yeah.
And when you're super rich, you can get away with a lot of shit. So that was kind of the explanation for that.
I was wondering why she decided to confess to killing her husband to begin with, because there was really nothing tying her to that crime.
Except for the word of that one janitor.
I saw the dame.
Paid off.
The dame was over there. She's the one who did it.
The first person that guy called was Vincent Price anyway, so he could have been paid off.
Probably.
Yeah, but this movie was such a huge hit. Like I mean, horror movies didn't do this type of box office back then, and so it spawned like 5 other movies in the franchise. Like it was like a huge like thing for the studio, and a lot of people just like kind of don't remember it nowadays because like it kind of like fizzled out. But at the same time, it's like this was like in terms of like bringing horror sci-fi to like the forefront, body horror, stuff like that. Like nothing had ever been done like this before.
I find it funny because there's nothing horror or scary in any of this movie.
Well, hold on.
It's just like, it's so, this is a comedy now.
The scene, you mean you weren't terrified when the reveal of the fly head?
No.
And then the girl screams and it's in like fly vision.
The scariest part was the fly with the human head.
With the spider.
And it was done so poorly.
With a freaking puppet laughable. Spider, and it's like...
And they had a little fake rubber spider. You could probably see a stick attached to it with a dude, Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah, it was done so bad. $400,000. That's where I call bullshit.
This could have been an episode of The Twilight Zone.
I could do better.
30 minutes.
We could do better than that with 15 minutes and a fucking popsicle stick and some glue. Okay?
I challenge you.
I turned him into a cat last week. We can do it.
Do you know how movies were made back in the 50s?
I don't care. I don't care.
It doesn't hold up to today's standards. Fuck this movie.
Vader's like, why didn't they just use their cell phones to film this?
That was just poor.
There's a guy in the background with an actual
yeah.
telling Vader to fuck off.
The most uncomfortable part of this movie is when he kills his cat.
Oh, God.
I forgot about the cat.
I was upset at the cat.
Dandelion?
Yeah.
I was upset.
He did not deserve that. Dandelion deserved better.
Here's a bowl of or a little saucer of milk. Hop into the transporter device. Transport the cat, and the cat just disappears. And then you hear like this other world, like meow, like in the sky.
So weird. The whole movie, I'm like, where's the cat?
I was legit upset.
Yeah.
I was like,
that dude just killed the cat.
I'm a pet guy.
Yeah.
I like my cat. My cat has a fucking Instagram page.
Yeah.
Truly underscore Louis, if you haven't seen it. But
Louis is a handsome man.
He is a very handsome man. But no, that was like the only part in this movie that I had any kind of emotional reaction. Yeah. And it was anger at this asshole scientist who put that fucking
untested,
cat,
threw the cat in there.
Oh my God, he's so unapologetic too. When he talks to his wife, he's like, oh yeah, some shit happened with Dandelion. She's like, what? And that's why she makes him promise not to experiment on animals anymore. And he's like, okay.
And he does it with a guinea pig.
On animals anymore.
What about the guinea pig? He put the guinea
after? I think that was before.
No, that was after the cat.
Yeah, it was after the cat.
Because he succeeded. And he's like, now we have to wait a month to see
because that's when he confesses, and that's when she tells him no more animals.
Yeah.
So he makes it bigger so he can fit inside. And then he experiments on himself, and he gets all fucked up, and he deserved what happened to him.
So in the short story, the same thing happens with the cat, where like basically the cat is disintegrated, but it's never reintegrated. And so it's kind of out there in the ether. Mm-hmm. And after he has his accident with the fly, he tries to go through the teleporter again in order to see if maybe he can, fix it. And when he reintegrates, parts of the cat are now part of his body.
Oh God!
And they planned to shoot this for the movie, but they couldn't figure out the special effects for it, and so they just cut the scene out. And so you never find out what happened to the cat.
Give him some cat ears.
Yeah, give him some cat ears and a furry arm or something like that.
I mean, that would have been way easier than fly makeup.
Just have him do this.
Yeah, but in the
he is drinking milk with rum in it. I mean,
yeah.
Give me water with sugar. But in the short story, basically that was his point of no return. Is as soon as the cat DNA got kind of integrated into him, he's like, okay, there's no coming back from this, and so that's when he decides to kill himself.
So The Fly 2, The Revenge of Dandelion.
Well, that house is now officially haunted by a dead cat.
Yeah,
for sure. You're gonna be sleeping in the middle of the night, and you're gonna hear scratching at the door.
Is it weird that I care about what happens to animals more than I do about people?
Yeah,
it's fuck those people. Those goddamn cats did not deserve that.
Well, do you remember when we were talking about The Thing and Jude couldn't get past the dogs?
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jude, on that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those poor dogs. That was rough.
I got done dirty.
Don't fuck with animals.
I know. It's terrible.
Anyway,
humans fuck with them all.
Fuck with them all you want. Humans are terrible. I don't have anything else to say. I didn't like this movie. It's the only part I liked was the very, very ending. I thought was hilarious. Mm-hmm. And there's a few scenes peppered in throughout the movie that I thought were fun and cool. And, the fly makeup was interesting enough. It was oh, cool. They put a freaking fly head on the guy and whatever. It was fine. But I don't know. For me, this is can we do ratings yet?
Sure.
Am I ready to do ratings?
I need my wife to watch this movie because I need her to understand how women are supposed to act.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
When their husbands disappear for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'll just come.
But he's
I'll come around when I need to be around you. Okay.
That was another thing I had some salt for too. Is she goes in there, the big reveal happens, and he's like, "I'm a fly now," and she freaks out. Oh my God, she faints. And then she leaves and he's like, just go get some rest and come back tomorrow fresh. And she's like, okay, dear. And she just goes to bed. I'm like, what?
It's so stupid.
She just goes to sleep? Like, deal with it in the morning.
It's like, well, where's your husband? Oh, he's been in his lab for weeks. I haven't seen him. I don't know what he's doing down
Poor
there.
kid is always like, will you play with me?
Oh, yeah. Later, son.
Yeah, I promise.
Back when men were men. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm doing some stuff for the world.
Well, he's making more money than he knows what to do with. So, you know, it's justified.
I'll hire someone to play
Go
with
make
you.
me a sandwich,
It's like,
dame.
it's not a 1-star crap fest, but I would probably give this like, I don't know, 1.5 stars.
Wow.
I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was pretty badly written. There was a lot of plot holes and very convenient things that happened to the main characters and stuff like that. And I just didn't like it. I didn't watch it a second time. I watched part of it with you on our Discord app, and that was the quote unquote second time I saw it.
I'm glad we had that because
I'm done.
it gets me through it because I would have fast forwarded.
I know you were trying so hard. I saw because I could see your mouse moving, and you hover over the skip button, and I'm like, don't do it.
45 more minutes.
Fuck.
It's like,
So 1.5 stars for me. This is not a movie for me. This is not a good retro we watch.
too much talking.
It was just dumb. I thought it was
Not
dumb.
enough sandwiches.
Yeah.
Don't kill that fly. Oh my God. It's like, no.
Give it a rating, B.
Oh boy. Would you give it 100 star and a half?
Yeah. 100 stars? No, just 1.5 stars.
I'll give it 100 buttholes.
Yeah, how many bronze buttholes do you give this?
Bronze buttholes. No, this is not a bronze butthole movie.
It's not even a contender for the award.
No. That's my new award I'm handing out to the worst movie of the year, by the way.
We all got together yesterday, and these two found a bronze butthole on a
did.
statue. And
It's the
it's been all the
2022
rage.
It's going to be the new geolocation
Bronze Butthole Award goes to
thing. Don't do that.
find out next week. Yeah, I'm sorry, Katie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, a rating. I'm gonna go 2 stars.
Okay.
2 stars. It does have the iconic
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, it was kind of funny, but the spider was terrible. But Vincent Price, I'll give it a star for Vincent Price being Vincent Price. So
right.
yeah, there we go.
Jude?
I agree with you. It doesn't hold up, but at the time it was the shit. So I appreciate how it has affected horror movies moving forward since this came out. I love Vincent Price, and I'm glad that I saw it. Like, it's not a 1-star crap fest. I'm glad that I saw it. I never need to watch it again, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. So yeah, I'm going to give it 2 human head flies out of 5.
Okay. Kadish?
So it was funny when you guys picked this movie for the retro WeWatch. I had seen it before, and so I was just like, oh.
Oh, you
watch this
fought
one.
hard to not watch this.
Yeah.
Well,
You
he
were
doesn't
lobbying.
like 50s and 60s movies anyway.
This got moved several times.
Yeah, it did.
He watched it in film school, guys.
Yeah. So I knew that it was a very slow movie. There was a lot of talking. It took a long time for anything interesting to happen. I agree with Alex. This is 1.5 for me. Like, I just, it like Vader said, it's become a comedy over time.
Sure.
And that's never a good thing. So I can appreciate the cultural significance of it, the, inroads it made into kind of mainstreaming horror movies and body horror and all this other stuff. But at the same time, it does not stand the test of time. It's not a good movie. 1.5 stars for me.
Okay. One last note is that dumb bitch of a maid that they had when she's like, we need to catch the fly. And the freaking maid like grabs a fly swatter and starts swatting flies left and right. And she's like, you fool, I told you to catch it, not kill it. And she's like, what? Ooh. Smack, smack. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, that's just how women operated back then, Alex.
God help me.
They need to be told specifics.
Anyway, that's
Go
it.
with your strengths. Go make a sandwich.
That's it for the retro we watch of 1958's The Fly. Well, let us know what you think. Are we wrong? Is this a
Have you
classic?
seen it?
Have you seen it?
It's a classic.
Sure.
100%.
We should also point out this is the end of our retro WeWatch month.
Yep.
Yes.
Final retro WeWatch of 2022.
Yep. Last movie for the year for the retro. Next November, I guess we'll do another one. We'll see.
A whole month?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
We'll discuss.
We'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
We'll play it by ear. But anyway, thank you guys all for joining us on this episode. Don't forget to like, comment below, and if you want to join us and chat with us as the host, you can go to saltynerddiscord.com. That's where the action happens. We do watch parties, so join up if you want to watch some of these movies with us live, and we have a chat box so we can talk while we're watching and have a lot of fun. So it's a great time over there in Discord, and we would love to have more members over there. We got pretty close to 300 now, so
really?
Yeah, jump in.
Sweet.
Yeah, and right now while you're listening on your Apple device, can you please scroll down and give us a 5-star rating?
Yep. If you're on Apple, iTunes, or whatever, just scroll down. 5 stars, done.
It really makes a difference.
All right. V, where can they find you on the socials, bud?
You can find me at MattVader74 on the Twitter. I'm also on some of the other ones like Facebook and Instagram, but mostly on Twitter. And you can find me right here every Saturday morning on Salty Saturdays with Mr. Kadish over there as we discuss the topics and trending news stuff from the previous week with our rotating plethora of our rotating what's the word? Panel. Yeah, rotating panel of guest hosts that come in and join us, and with Brian from the Popcast guys. He comes in every week with us.
Excellent. All right, Jude. Where can they find you?
Well, you can find us on Facebook at saltynerdgroup.com, and you can find me on the socials at I am Jude Juju.
Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, on Twitter and Truth Social. KadishBooks.com takes you to our Amazon page. I'd just like to point out there's been a lot of activity on the Facebook group lately. So that's been really fun to get to interact with people on there. Anthony Mark has been killing it. He's been posting all types of stuff over there. Thank you, Anthony. And Matt Vader, he hasn't been giving himself enough credit. He is now a blue check mark on Twitter. Welcome to the Blue Check Club, my friend.
Doesn't really mean what it used to mean.
And we're also getting a lot of follows over on the Salty Nerd account, so that's growing steadily. So thank you all who follow us on Twitter. We really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends, and we'll see you next week.